Hi, this is Chris Costello, and I've teamed up with Michael Senoff to bring you the world's best health-related interviews. So if you know anyone struggling with their weight, with cancer, diabetes, ADHD, autism, heart disease, or other health issues, send them over to Michael Senoff's HardToFindSeminars.com. Hale, it's such a pleasure to have you here today. It's always a delight talking with you.
Oh, likewise.
Can you give our listeners, Hale, a little history of what the Sedona Method is all about?
Oh, sure. Well, first off, the Sedona Method is a simple, powerful, easy to learn, and easy to duplicate technique that shows you how to tap your natural ability to let go of any sense of inner limitation, any unwanted emotion, any unwanted thought, any unwanted belief, any voice in your head that's giving you trouble, all the things that we struggle with day to day that keep us from having what we want, doing what we want, and feeling the way we want to feel. So basically, the Sedona Method is a very simple, elegant, and powerful way to get rid of our excess baggage that we carry around. And the Sedona Method has been around for now over 3 decades. It was originally inspired by a man named Lester Levinson, my mentor, who back in 1952 was sent home to die from a second coronary. And the doctors really didn't think he'd live more than a few weeks. But because of the intensity of the situation, he was really motivated, you would say, to find a solution or find something he could do about it. So he went back to the lab within himself, and he started a process of self-inquiry and asking himself questions like, who am I, and what's this world, and what's it all about? And what he discovered is that we all have no limitations whatsoever except the ones that we hold in mind. And those limitations can be let go of or released relatively easily if we're just willing to put our attention on it and let go. And when he discovered that, he started working intensively on himself, and over a 3-month period, he went from literally a physical and emotional basket case. He was quite successful. He was living on Central Park South in Manhattan, but he had migraine headaches, he had diverticulitis, he had perforated ulcers, he had jaundice several times a year, and he also had coronary artery disease. And he also was miserable. He had actually had 4 years of psychoanalysis with an associate of Freud, who said after 4 years of working with him, he said, Lester, I'm sorry, some people just can't be helped, which is kind of odd. You know, they couldn't get away with saying that these days. That'd be a lawsuit. But back then you could get away with a lot. So he basically was desperate. And when the doctors gave him that death sentence, he tried to find a way to at least discover how he'd gotten himself into this mess. And as he worked on himself, he felt happier and more peaceful and more alive. His body healed. And then at the end of the 3 months, he discovered that this sense of limited person that we all identify with isn't who we are and isn't who he was. And what we are is this sense of unlimited beingness or presence that is always here, always now, always shining in plain view, except we ignore it because we're so busy with our life history and story and the problems that we deal with day to day, so we ignore that which is even more obvious or more present. And once he discovered that within himself, part of the nature of that discovery is that you uncover that peace that's always right within you, or that you are. And he lived another 42 years after the doctors had given him just a few weeks to live. One of our challenges when we talk to people about the Sedona Method is how quick and simple it is. It's not a difficult process to learn. The reason we have weekend seminars, the reason that we have 20 CD audio programs is because it takes a while for the mind to accept that positive change could really be this simple, this easy, this direct, this natural. Because we're always doing something with our emotions. We're either suppressing them or expressing them. But with the Sedona Method, you learn that there's a balancing point between those two. So sometimes it's appropriate not to deal with an emotion in this moment. You just don't have time, you don't want to. And other times it's appropriate to tell people how you feel, especially if you want to have healthy relationships. But the balancing point between those two is simply letting the emotion come up into awareness and choosing to let it go, choosing to let it pass through awareness. And you can be doing that all day long, no matter what you're doing in life. And as you get more comfortable simply allowing emotions to come up into awareness and dissolve by themselves, you get less hooked into your stories. You get less buffeted by life circumstances, and you're much more able to deal with what's actually here now. And you're much happier, more alive, more at ease. And for most people, that translates into a lot more money and a lot more physical health as well. All the steps and the wording and the questions that we use are simply designed to get you in touch with this natural ability to let go. So if you forget everything about the Sedona Method, but you do remember that you have this natural ability to let go, you'll find that you do it naturally, without effort. You'll find that you, instead of clutching inside, you open inside. And when you do that, the excess energy that's gotten caught in your body and your mind just simply unravels. And just so people know what we're talking about, the beginning stages of the method is asking a series of simple questions. The first thing you do is you focus on an issue or something you'd like to feel freer about, and then you simply welcome whatever you're thinking or feeling about it, whatever your attitudes or beliefs are. You just let them be there for a moment, and then you ask yourself a series of very simple questions. The first question is, could you let it go? And in my experience, after working with hundreds of thousands of people, and based on their experience and my own, is that you always have the ability to let go because you aren't your feelings. They're just feelings, and they're not who you are, and they're not even true. A lot of times we treat feelings as though they're who we are, and they're facts. But feelings are not facts. They're just feelings. So because of that, you can choose to let them go. So the first question you ask yourself, or someone can ask you, is, could you let it go? And that's discovering within yourself if you're capable of it. The next question is, would you let it go? And would you just mean, are you willing to? A lot of times we're unwilling to let go of even things that we know are causing us suffering. But again, we don't realize, though, that willingness is easy to muster inside if we're open to it. And so if you're willing to let go, you answer yes to that question. If you're not sure, you say, I'm not sure. It's not important how you answer the question. And the last question is when. And when is an invitation to decide to do it now. So you ask yourself, could I let it go? Would I let it go? And when? And just so you guys all have a sense of what we're talking about, those of you listening to this interview, let's just do it together. Allow yourself to think of some situation in your life that you've been putting up with or wanting to change or wanting to improve. Right now it might be you're concerned about the economy, you're concerned about your job, you're concerned about your home, or there could be a whole host of other issues. No matter what the financial situation is in our world, every day there are challenges. So think of a challenge. Think of something that you'd like to feel better about. And in this moment, could you just simply welcome how you feel about it? Let it be here. Then as best you can, could you let that feeling go? Just could you? And remember, yes or no are acceptable answers, just as long as you're honest with yourself and you're using your heart as opposed to your head as best you can. Would you let it go? When? Now again, allow yourself to focus on that same situation. You may already feel different or you may not, but either way it's okay. And could you just simply ask yourself, could I let this go? Just could I? Would I? When? Let's just do that one more time together. What you'll find is that you can keep asking these same questions, which are the beginning stages, the steps of the Sedona Method, for as long as you need to produce the inner result that you're looking for. So in this moment, could you just simply, as you think of that situation, welcome how you feel? And then as best you can, could you let that feeling go? Just could you? Would you? When? Now, if you were doing this on your own, you could ask, could I let it go? Would I and when? Or could you? Would you and when? Either one is fine. You can do it in the first person or the third person. And again, let yourself just be spontaneous with answering the question. Just avoid debate as best you can. The more open and spontaneous you are as you ask the question, and the more you follow your heart as opposed to your head, the more powerful the process is. So just be natural with yourself and play with this. If you just take this one thing away with you from this interview and you start asking these questions of yourself, you'll find that you'll start to be able to tap this natural ability to let go because it is natural. Young children do this without effort. Unfortunately, we as adults, without realizing it, train our children out of this in our attempt to make them more like us because we think that's what they need to do in order to cope with life.
Hi, it's Michael Sinoff with HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching this video. You know, many of my interviews last 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, sometimes even up to 2.5 hours long. They're actual mini-seminars, and you've just listened to a short sample of just one of over 117 hours of exciting, hard-hitting, mind-blowing interviews on how to make money in direct mail, advertising, copywriting. I assure you, there is not a resource anywhere anywhere on the internet or on the planet that comes close to the free information I provide at hardtofindseminars.com. So go right now to hardtofindseminars.com and you'll have free access to 117 hours of audio interviews with typed word-for-word downloadable transcripts and downloadable MP3 files. Please browse some more of the videos or go right directly to hardtofindseminars.com. Thanks for watching.